Greetings, my name is Siobhan Hancock with the New Mexico Department of Health Obesity, Nutrition, and Physical Activity Program. Healthy indigenous cooking is part of a statewide effort to reduce obesity, diabetes, and other chronic diseases in Indian country using traditional Native American recipes. New Mexico is home to 23 distinct tribes, pueblos, and nations, each with its own culturally different foodway. This webinar series focuses on healthy meal preparation of Southwest Native American recipes using indigenous ingredients available in New Mexico. You may substitute some items with local produce or spices from your area. The recipe and other cooking sessions are available online. See the resource slide at the end of this presentation for more information. Healthy Indigenous Cooking is sponsored by New Mexico Department of Health. This program is partly funded by Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program for Education, SNAP-Ed, and the CDC. Let me introduce you to our chefs. Lois Ellen Frank, PhD, is the chef owner of Red Mesa Cuisine, a Santa Fe, New Mexico-based catering company that specializes in indigenous Native American cuisine and cultural education with a modern twist. Lois cooks alongside Native American chef Walter Whitewater, who works with Chef Frank in Santa Fe, New Mexico. He was one of the first Native American chefs to cook at the James Beard House in New York City. For more information about our chefs, please watch the Session 1 video or go to their website at redmesacuisine.com. Session 8, Grilled Pineapple with Dark Chocolate, Orange Segments with Cinnamon, and Summer Melon Fruit Salad. Let's get started with Chef Lois Ellen Frank and Chef Walter Whitewater.
Hi everyone, my name is Lois Ellen Frank, and today we're going to start with grilled fresh pineapple, and we're going to drizzle the pineapple with dark chocolate. So before I start, I just want to contextualize how important some of these foods are and why they're so nutritious. So we're using dark chocolate. So when you buy chocolate, chocolate comes in two ways. This one actually says right on the label, 72% cacao dark chocolate. This is the one that you want to try and get. This chocolate says dark chocolate on it, but it's only 54% of cacao. So we're going to use dark chocolate. Why? The darker the chocolate, the more flavonoids and the more nutrients it has, so the darker you can get. But also, the less sweet it is. So everybody has the illusion that chocolate's really sweet, but it's not as sweet as you think. It's actually got lots of good nutrients, antioxidants, so we want to go as dark as possible. And you could also order them in the chip form. So depending on your center and what you can get, today I'm going to use block chocolate, and I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing with the block chocolate. The other thing that other ingredient, and this is really, really easy to do, but there's a couple of things that we want to keep in mind. This pineapple, you can see, is starting to turn orange and yellow. So whenever you order a pineapple or purchase a pineapple, it's going to be green. The secret to this is that you want to leave it out. This has been sitting out for 3 days, and another good way to tell if it's ripe is, look, one of these little leaves comes right out. The other way to identify if it's ripe is just smell it. You're going to smell the fresh fruit flavor of the pineapple. So the key to this, now, why is ripened fruit important? Well, flavor, but also the peak of the nutrients are their best whenever the fruit is ripe. So always buy in advance and plan in advance for this. For those of you that can't get fresh pineapple, you could use canned, and I'll address that when we do this. But I want to talk about some of the health benefits of pineapple. First of all, they're loaded with nutrients. They contain disease-fighting antioxidants. They have vitamin C and manganese. They have enzymes when you eat the pineapple that helps to break down proteins which make digestion easier. So these are all very important things, especially at our senior centers. They reduce the risk of cancer because some of the compounds that reduce the oxidative stress that are linked to cancer are found in pineapples. They boost immunity and they suppress inflammation. And we're only halfway through the list. They may ease symptoms of arthritis, right? They have short-term relief for people with the most common types of arthritis. They help to speed recovery after surgery or strenuous exercise. The bromelain in pineapples reduces inflammation, reduces swelling, bruising, and pain. So this is also very important. And pineapples are not only delicious, I think they're amazing, and I'm going to show you this, but they're easy to add to the diet. They have fiber, they're inexpensive, and they're readily available. So these are all important considerations when we're thinking about a very simple dessert for our senior residents. So step one is in the back here, I have a pot with boiling water, and we're going to make a double boiler. The one thing you have to keep in mind when you're doing chocolate is that chocolate burns if it goes directly on the flame. So we always take chocolate and put it under steaming water to melt it, because that's what we're going to be using to drizzle. So I'm going to just make sure that my knife is sharpened, and I'm going to use a towel so I don't, and I'm just going to sharpen my knife before I start cooking. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the chocolate, and I have a block here, so I'm going to cut it into small pieces. Why am I cutting it into small pieces? Because it's going to be easier to melt, and we want it to melt fairly quickly, but we also want it to melt evenly. And yes, you can burn chocolate. If you were to leave it in the bowl over the boiling water for too long, it would burn. So chocolate will burn, and it also will harden. So you could actually make this dessert and leave it, and then it'll harden on the pineapple. But let's go ahead and get this chocolate melting on our boiler over here. And I'm just going to lift the bowl so you all can see the water. So I just have a regular kitchen bowl with boiling water in a pot, and that is the double boiler. So very easy, no fancy tools here, something that all of you should have in your kitchens and access to for this particular dessert. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut our pineapple, okay? And first thing we're going to do is lay it on its side and cut the top off. All right, take your knife, go all the way through, and you're going to turn it over to the other side, and we're going to cut the bottom off. So what we've done is we've cut both the top and the bottom off. The next thing that we're going to do, and this is a fairly common technique that I want all of you to learn, because this is how we're going to cut melons, this is how we're going to cut oranges, and this is how we're going to cut the pineapple. You're going to take your knife and you're going to follow it around, and you want to get off all of the outer skin and the brown spots that you might have. So slow and steady, just turning that pineapple. Beautiful, look at that, easy. And you've got the flatness so that it's not moving and there's no danger of you cutting yourself. So just keep turning that pineapple all the way around, evenly as possible, trying to remove all of the brown little spots that are on the pineapple. Okay, I think I have one more. There we go. And then just take a look at your pineapple, and if you have to, you can go around. I have one little brown spot there, so let me go ahead and remove that. That actually is going to go through. I'll have to remove that on the when we cut the pineapple for grilling. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our pineapple and we're going to cut all the way in half. Okay, so we have 2 halves now. We're going to cut again into fourths. And pineapples have a core, and so we want to get out that core because the core is very difficult to eat and very hard. So here I'm taking my finger. You can actually see the core, just like an apple core, and we're going to cut that core completely off. Okay, we're going to do that 4 times, making sure that that core is removed. And what we're left with is just the soft, ripened pineapple parts. Okay, so that's done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut slices long ways, and you want your slices fairly large because you don't want them to fall through the grill, and we want them to be able to hold together when we grill, because the next step is grilling the pineapple. Okay, so usually you get 4 pieces per section, so that would give us like 16 pieces per pineapple. Okay, and I like to do well, it's so good, you might want 3, but I like to do about 2 pieces per serving. So now we have our pineapple. And in a previous class, we looked at using this grill, and this is the grill that I'm going to be using today. But you could also use this grill, which is just a rack for drying or setting cookies on, or you could use a cast iron pan. That would also work. But we're going to go ahead and use this grill today. And so what I'm going to do is turn my heat on high. I'm going to take some of these slices, and we're going to put them on the grill over the open flame. Okay, so what you want to keep in mind is we want the pineapple to blacken. And why do we want it to blacken? Why would we grill something? Why? What's the point in that? Well, remember, Chef Walter and I are all about flavor. And it's very important to us for it to have flavor. So pineapple in its raw state sometimes tastes a little acidic. When you grill it, it mellows that flavor, and the blackening brings out the natural sweetness of the pineapple, which means that when we drizzle that chocolate on, which people think is going to be sweet, but it's 72%, so it's really not going to be sweet, we're going to have a delicious dessert. We're going to have the nutrients from that chocolate drizzled on the pineapple with the pineapple that has been grilled, so it has that delicious flavor on it. So let's take a look here. The flame is on high, and then what's going to happen is that pineapple is going to start to blacken. You can see little blackened spots there. That's perfect, and that is giving us flavor and softening the acidity of the pineapple. So we're going to let that cook for just a minute. Let's take a look at our chocolate. We can see our chocolate starting to melt. Look at that. Beautiful. So you can give it a stir. I'm using a spatula, so you want a spatula that can handle heat. And we're just going to stir that chocolate until it's completely melted, because that's what we're going to use to drizzle onto our dessert today. So our pineapple is grilling, and this process, it seems slow, but actually it's not slow. It's just right. We want to make sure we're getting a nice blackening, but not too black, on our pineapple, and that will be ready to do. And as in true cooking class fashion, I have some trays here that I have already grilled for you, and you can see that we have really nice blackening on our pineapple. Now, take a look, they're different. So this is a fresh pineapple, okay? This would be a canned pineapple or the same size as a canned pineapple. So if you cannot get fresh, although I really would highly encourage you to buy some pineapples and let them ripen. You can grill them and make a dessert, but you could also freeze chunks. This is going to make a great smoothie. You could freeze it and then defrost it, put it into a fruit salad, and you're getting lots more nutrients and none of that added sugar. Whenever you have a can, the canned sugar, the syrup, that heavy syrup, is not good for us. And I'm going to tell you a little story. Walter and I were working with a senior center in Oklahoma, and the cooks didn't believe that the elders were going to like this pineapple or the fruit salad better. So what we did was we cut some fruit, we made the pineapple, they opened a can, which they had been doing for quite some time, and we put 2 platters out and we let the seniors pick. Guess which ones they ate? They ate the fresh grilled pineapple first. They left alone the canned and the sugar syrup, and the canned fruit cocktail that they had been opening and serving. The seniors went for the fresh ripened fruit, which we're going to do next, and the canned fruit lost. So think about these flavors. Think about these dishes that are just healthy and good for our seniors with all of those nutrients and lots of flavor. So we've got some grilled pineapple. I'll put a couple more slices, and then I'm going to show you how to drizzle the chocolate. This is the final part of this. So we'll do 2 different ways. You can make the whole tray and then drizzle, and then what we would do, we would serve from the tray, or you can actually plate it. So I'll do both for you today. Walter and I, remember, we're chefs and we love to plate and we love stuff to look beautiful. So we would probably take 2 pieces on the plate. We're going to make sure that our chocolate has melted. And that's perfectly done there. And then what we're going to do, now remember, if you don't, if you melt the chocolate and then let it sit, it will harden. So you want to melt the chocolate when you're ready to drizzle, okay? So what we're going to do, notice I'm using a towel, guys, is I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to just drizzle. And very easy to do. This is the dark chocolate. So that's how we would do an individual plated dessert. And then I couldn't resist. We had some edible flowers at our farmer's market this past week. Many of you hopefully are growing some of those edible flowers in your own garden. And so what we would do to make this beautiful is we would add either an edible flower or a piece of mint, and we have a dessert that could be served in any restaurant anywhere in the country, and our seniors are going to feel nice and special, and we're serving them something that is easy to make, again, and very nutritious and delicious. So that is just a beautiful, beautiful plate there. Let's take a look how we would do it on a large sheet pan. And my students at IAIA make this dessert all the time, and it's absolutely a big, big hit. So again, there's our melted chocolate. Take a spoon and then take that melted chocolate, and this is the drizzling part. It looks easy, but it does take some skill, so you'll want to practice. We don't want too much, but we do want a little bit of chocolate on that dessert. And then we would just do the whole tray. Look at that, beautiful, right? And then the chocolate will actually solidify right onto that dessert, and we can serve this for dinner. We could serve this as a dessert for lunch. We could serve this for any of our meals. It's got lots of nutrients, that dark chocolate, antioxidants. Remember that dark chocolate's not going to be that sweet. Okay, if you taste it independently or on its own, it's what's sweet is the pineapple and that delicious flavor of the grilled pineapple on. That's beautiful. I'll just do this other little tray. This would be the shape and the size of the pineapple that you would get canned. Don't forget that's still grilled there. And we've just made a beautiful dessert feeding our elders nutrients. Chocolate, of course, an indigenous ingredient. Chocolate originated in the Americas. We know that we found chocolate in our site here in New Mexico. We've seen chocolate in Chaco Canyon. It's been here for over 1,000 years. So we do know that those ancestors were probably bringing that chocolate up and then sharing that chocolate, that dark chocolate, maybe with a little chili, maybe with some fruit. So we have something that's healthy, that's easy to make, cost effective, with lots and lots of nutrients. So we're going to get ready, and the next thing we're going to do is the fruit salad. Hi everyone, we're going to now do the fruit salad, and I want to just contextualize fruit. This is a baby watermelon. We have cantaloupe, honeydew, there's different kinds of melons. We call this, Chef Walter and I, a summer melon fruit salad. And we know melons, even though they were introduced, so they are from the old world, they were introduced to Pueblo people at least 500 years ago, and they've been woven into the fabric of every feast and every feast day. So they have a lot of significance in our Pueblo communities as well as the Navajo and Apache nations. So even though they are what we call the first contact, not the pre-contact, they're very important. So we're going to be focusing on these today. Again, you want to buy these in advance, and you want to let those melons ripen. Now, here I have a melon that we let ripen for 3 or 4 days. It will start to get soft. And again, oh, the smell. You can smell the sweetness. You can smell the fruit. Here again is another. This is the cantaloupe. Smell, and you'll be able to smell the sweet essence of that. You want to have a melon that is heavy. And the reason you want a heavy melon is because that means it has a lot of water. And when it has a lot of water, it's fresh. As it ages, it will dry over time. So very important, those different things, letting those melons ripen. But I want to just talk a little bit again about how healthy these are. It's so amazing. So melons have carotenoids. This is a powerful antioxidant that helps maintain healthy eye function. Folates, these are important for healthy growth and maintenance of cells within the body. Vitamin C and potassium, these are really important, also rich in nutrients. And Walter's going to come in and show you guys with the camera a little focus here on these melons so that we can see them close up, and you can take a look at how beautiful they are and what we're going to be using today. They're rich in nutrients. They may reduce blood pressure due to high potassium and low sodium. The nutrients are vital for bone health, including folate, vitamin K, and magnesium. Well, Chef Walter, let's go ahead and focus right in here on these so that everybody can see what we're going to be using today. And by regularly eating fruit, such as melon, this is associated with a lower risk of diabetes. And this is because all these fruits have fiber, and the fiber and other health-promoting nutrients are important in slow release. So even though these have natural sugars, the fiber and the amount of water in melons are really important. Honeydew alone, rich in nutrients, it reduces blood pressure because of potassium, low sodium, and regularly eating fruit, okay, such as melon, lowers the risk of diabetes. So this is really important for our seniors. It's also important for our children and adults, anyone at risk. And that's because when you eat, the fiber slows down that process of eating the melon. Rich in electrolytes, so a lot of times you can put melon in a little water and make an electrolyte beverage. This would be great. The same way we started putting mint or cucumbers, other things, berries in water, and perhaps we'll do some drinks in the future. Again, rich collagen protects the skin, high levels of vitamin C, supports immune function, and that fiber is good for digestion. And what I did find out was melons, if you're not used to eating fiber, melons are a really good way to introduce fiber into the diet gently, whereas some other very high fiber foods a little more difficult. So this is a perfect way to introduce fiber into the diet. So again, really important. So we've bought our fruit, we've let our fruit ripen, and you want to let your fruit ripen at room temperature. And of course, summer is a great time for these, although you can get melons at all times of the year, but summer is amazing because we have lots of melons available. So same thing as we did for the pineapple. We're going to cut the one side off and another side off, and then you're going to turn your melon, and the same way, Walter's really good at this, Chef Walter. You want to get rid of the white. We want that knife to curl, see that, and follow that all the way around, okay, getting all the white off. Maybe let's do a close-up and take a look at what we're doing here, Chef Walter, so that everybody can see that melon. So just like the pineapple, everybody, just follow evenly and slowly all the way around. Beautiful. And of course, if you have compost, the melon skins will compost, and then you can put it back to the earth in the form of nutrients for your garden. And I'm sure many of you that have gardens grow your own melons because melons are so important. I think especially the watermelon. Watermelon is at every feast day, every ceremony. And so we have now cut that melon really nicely. Check for any white, and we'll just remove that. That looks pretty good, guys. And now we're ready to cut the melon. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to, Walter made a really beautiful dice here. So same thing, let's cut that melon in half. And then what we can do is take, and remember again, what size do you want in your fruit salad? We did sort of nice, even sizes for our fruit salad today. So you're going to cut your pieces. You can do several pieces together. Let's go ahead and cut rows this way. And then what you can do is you can turn and cut your squares evenly, and that can go right into the bowl. This is what's called a seedless watermelon. If you did not have a seedless watermelon, you would use, take those black seeds out, okay? just so that nobody would eat those by mistake. This is a yellow watermelon, and this is beautiful. So actually some watermelons, so even though this looks like a normal watermelon, you have to look at the label because this is called a sunny gold, and it's yellow inside. So you could also use a beautiful yellow watermelon, beautiful yellow watermelon, and that would be something else to use in addition to the red. Here is our cantaloupe, and so we're going to cut the cantaloupe the same way we did our melons as well as our pineapple. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a spoon. You can see here we have seeds and fiber, and some of you might think, so if we're using an organic melon, or if this is a melon that you grew, you can actually just take a spoon and save those seeds. These seeds would be able to be planted in your garden. If you're using a commercial, it may be a hybrid, and most likely those seeds won't grow. You'd have to do an heirloom melon, so you want to think about that. But you're just taking your spoon and scraping out the seeds. Again, the smell. So this is a ripe, perfectly ripe melon, and you can smell it, and it's delicious. So think about using melons not only for health and wellness, it's a great food for our seniors to eat. So same thing, let's cut, now that we've gotten this is about a 1/2 inch, and then this is a little different, right, than the watermelon. So we're gonna just cut maybe like this, and then cut pieces that will go in our bowl. Again, who is your clientele and what size would you like to serve, okay? So here again, cutting those strips, and then turning that melon and cutting pieces that are gonna go into our fruit salad, okay? So we're gonna take these now and put this in, and any kind of cantaloupe or honeydew will work well. So we have our 3 melons cut. We're gonna add mint to this. Now I grow mint, so I have it readily available. For those of you that don't grow mint, you would order this from your purveyor or from your farmer's market, especially now. And then you can use that. So I'm going to take the leaves off the mint, off the stem here. Now, why are we using mint? Well, mint is going to add some flavor. The mint is also going to add nutrients. Mint is good for digestion. It's good for your breath. You can make mint tea. Mint has a lot of uses, and again, all about the flavor, and without adding lots of high fructose or sugar. So we're going to take our mint, we're going to squish it together, and then what we're going to do is just cut a very fine dice here. This making these herbs something that we can sprinkle on to our fruit salad. Yeah, oh, you can just smell it when you're cutting. It's so nice. And of course, mint. We have lots of wild mints also. It goes back in our native traditions. Lots of mint was harvested all over New Mexico. We can still see some forms of that wild mint growing in some of our areas. So again, let's do that. Take your leaves off. Crush together those leaves with your fingers, and then do a very fine slicing, which will make little ribbons, chiffonade of these beautiful mint leaves, and that's going to go on our fruit salad. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to mix together the fruit. So we have our watermelon and our cantaloupe and our honeydew. This is the green. And then using gloves, you want to gently mix that fruit salad together. If you can't get all of these melons, by all means, you could use one. And for those of you that ordered the pineapple, let your pineapple ripen. You could add some pineapple to this as well. That would add some nutrients. But for me personally, I love the melon. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our mint and we're going to sprinkle that over our salad. And again, we're going to toss. So that mint is adding some flavor, some nutrients. And I like my fruit salad just plain. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay. But some of you may have some of your clients, your seniors, even kids that want the fruit to be a little sweeter. So I'm going to show you what we could do. So let's take our delicious fruit salad with that mint. I think it's perfectly delicious, and we know it's nutritious just by itself with the mint. But let me show you some other options for making the fruit salad a little bit sweeter, and then I will garnish this one plate while we're doing that. So I have choke cherries that I harvest every year, and Chef Walter and I make a choke cherry syrup. So we could certainly use the choke cherry syrup. There are local companies in New Mexico and lots of prickly pear, so we could also do a little prickly pear syrup. There are native companies that make choke cherry, so you could also buy the choke cherry. The prickly pear, you could use maple syrup, right? Maple syrup is it is native, and it's going to, probably most of you have that in your kitchen, add a tiny bit of sweetness. Wild plum, which we have here in New Mexico, you can buy that, or you can also make that yourself. I also found a delicious lavender, because we have so many lavender farms here in New Mexico, a simple syrup with lavender, so that would be another option. And then also think about, you could use local honey if you wanted to just drizzle that on, or a little bit of agave. We have a blue agave, and there's a lighter agave. Chef Walter likes the lighter agave. I like the dark, but it's up to all of you. So for today, what we would do is I'm going to use my choke cherry, and we harvest choke cherries ourselves and do a reduction. I don't know if any of you do that. So if you don't, you can leave this part out, or you can certainly add this if you wanted. So, or the prickly pear, which is also amazing. And so what we would do is we have our fruit in a bowl. You could just take a little, let's do the choke cherry, and we would just drizzle that on top. Beautiful. And that has made it a little bit sweeter. And for the sweet tooth, this is optional, you guys. You don't have to do it. If that fruit is perfectly ripe, you are going to be in for a treat. And then, of course, Walter and I would garnish with some fresh mint, and that would be very pretty on that. And then, of course, that mint, completely edible, and that would be a good way to serve that to your seniors. So ripened fruits, very important. Let those ripe. If you want to add a little of any kind of syrup, you can do that, or honey. This is a delicious, this could be for breakfast. This could be a beautiful dessert, or it could be its own salad, right? So you could actually serve it as a salad. So we call this Summer Melon Fruit Salad with a wild harvested fruit syrup if you want. That's optional. You all know how to cut it, very easy to make. The most important thing that you want to remember is to let your fruit ripen. so that you're at the peak of the sweetness and you have maximum flavor. So we're going to get ready. The next thing we're going to do, another very simple dessert, orange segments with cinnamon. Now what we're going to do, another really simple dessert, you guys, so easy to do, is we're going to do orange segments with cinnamon. So cinnamon helps the body to lower sugar and slow release the sugar that comes naturally in fruits. Oranges in their whole form, okay, so we're not drinking orange juice. Orange juice, concentrated, very high in sugar. We're eating the whole orange. And this is important to remember. So what do oranges have? High in vitamin C. I know everybody knows that. Healthy immune system. Prevents skin damage because of those high amounts of vitamin C. Keeps the blood pressure under check. Lowers cholesterol. Controls blood sugar levels. Now, why does it control blood sugar levels? Because when you eat the orange, okay, you're eating all the fiber, and the fiber slowly releases the natural sugars into the body, lower risk of cancer. It actually alkalizes the body, good for eye health, safeguards against constipation because of the fiber. And how did oranges come to us? How did we get oranges? Well, Christopher Columbus brought oranges from the Old World, it is an Old World food, to Haiti, so in the Caribbean, in 1493. So right after that initial voyage where he began to take native foods and find native foods and bring those native foods to the Old World, he also started bringing Old World foods to the native world. And so by 1518, both Mexico and Panama were growing oranges. So oranges have been around to the south quite some time, and they were introduced probably if we were to go back in time, that second voyage would have been in 1493, not the first voyage. So those were brought over and then started to be grown in parts of indigenous America. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, we want to make sure our knife is sharp, and Walter's sort of the master of this, Chef Walter, but same thing. We're going to cut the bottom off, cut the top off, and then we're going to take that orange and set it on our cutting board, and we're just going to take our knife. Now, if this knife feels too big to you, this is the same knife that we were using for the pineapple. You have to be comfortable with your knife, guys. You can do a paring knife or a smaller knife. So we could take that paring knife and go around if that feels more comfortable. You have to do what feels comfortable to your hands. And then there's actually some medium-sized knives. And again, you have to do what's comfortable. You could take a knife that was medium-sized and use that. So Walter and I think Chef Walter and I are both comfortable with larger knives, but I want you to use a knife that you are comfortable with because that is really important in keeping yourself safe and being able to cut fairly quickly. So you'll see how quickly I was able to cut that first orange. We're going to do it again so that everybody gets it. All right. So again, take one side and cut that, turn it over, take the other side, and then what we're going to do is take our knife, and you're at an angle, and you're using that knife to follow all the way around, nice and evenly, all the way around, turning that orange, getting all of the white off if possible. You can always go back around and clean that up. I'm going to make it look really easy, and the more you do this, the easier it's going to get. So you want to just remember that when you're starting out, there is a learning curve. Chef Walter and I have been doing this quite some time. Give yourself time to learn. Okay, let's do one more orange. Cut the bottom, cut the top. And I don't know if any of you know this, but the season for citrus is actually in the winter. So this is a really good dessert to do that you can get fresh. We get really good oranges from some of our warmer states in those winter months, and you could get different kinds of oranges. There's Caracara oranges, there's Valencia oranges, there's navel oranges, there's blood oranges, and all of these beautiful oranges you're going to see in those late fall and winter months. So that would be the best time of year. As we get into the spring and summer, that's when we're going to see our melons, and then of course in the fall, berries. So always look and see when is the things that are the least expensive. And if you eat seasonally and you work seasonally and feed your seniors seasonally, it's going to save you also on your food costs. So really the only thing here is cutting. Look at that. We still have beautiful juicy oranges, and we're in late spring right now, so you should be able to get these all year for those of you using citrus. So we're gonna use our citrus that we've cut. Let me just get rid of these peels. And so this is very, very easy. Now you could serve this on a large platter, or you could serve this individually. So we're just taking our knife and we're cutting the orange like a pinwheel, okay? All the way across. Let's do it again. Cut sideways like a pinwheel, all the way across. All right. And if you have some seeds, you'll just pull those seeds out. Let's do one more orange. Beautiful. Okay. So again, turn your orange. You're cutting pinwheels. And you're going to see this is so simple to do, and your seniors are going to love this. It's so delicious. Now, why are we taking the time to cut and not just leaving the skin on? Well, me personally, if someone gives me a whole orange and tells me to peel it and eat it, it's not as easy to enjoy as the way I'm showing you this. So even though I have that orange, I'm not going to peel it. I'm not going to eat it. And so we're showing you a way that you can make something that is not only beautiful, but very easy to eat. So again, how would I plate this if I was doing a platter? I'm going to take those oranges, those orange pinwheels, and I'm going to make a little circle. If I were doing a platter, I would take that all the way around. I think that's a good serving size there. I love fresh mint, and because I grow it, that is something that I would put. But we're going to add one more ingredient, guys. And so we're going to be using cinnamon. So you can take a cinnamon shaker, or you can use a little strainer here. And then you're just going to gently put that cinnamon on top. That cinnamon is going to add some beautiful, delicious flavor. It's very pretty, and it's a good way to slow down the sugar in that orange. Look how beautiful. Get that. There you go. So you could do pinwheels all the way around on a platter, and then, or if you wanted to plate it, look at that. We have a beautiful dish. And then the fruit salad, for those of you that used one of the agave or the syrup or the honey, you could also add for the sweet tooth a little of this. I'm going to take a little of the prepared prickly pear syrup. This is right out of the bottle, and look at that. We have a beautiful drizzle on there. This is optional if you wanted to add that for those of you that have a sweet tooth. So there's the individual serving, and then let's just take the rest of those oranges, and what we can do is we could make a platter, and then that could be put on the buffet. Again, my students at IAI do this all the time. We would start at the outside, work our way around. If you see seeds in your oranges, just remove those. Depending on the time of year when you have your oranges, that will determine when and if you need to remove seeds. At this time of year, we're at the end of the season, so lots of seeds in those orange segments. See, we have a platter, and then we would just do another circle in the inside here, getting those seeds out. Okay, and making our platter. There is another version of that, the orange platter. Look at how pretty that is. Everybody can take a couple of oranges or segments. And don't forget, you know, when you cut the orange and you put it in a bowl, you're going to end up with a little juice. Don't waste, okay? Take that juice, put that over, drizzle on top. You're getting, again, lots of flavor. And then the same thing, let's take a little bit of cinnamon and let's just sprinkle that gently on here, okay? There you go, beautiful. And then you would garnish that. I think it's perfect just this way. Put a little piece of mint on there, and you have a platter of beautiful oranges that you made relatively quickly. Lots of nutrients, lots of flavor. Seniors are going to love this, and they're going to eat it because it's easy to eat this way. And you're not peeling and using, trying to get that skin off. So we did 3 great recipes today, and very, very easy. Grilled pineapple with the dark chocolate, summer melon fruit salad with fresh mint, and optional to put any of those syrups I talked about on there, and then orange segments with cinnamon, nutritious and delicious. All of these are easy to make, all of these with ingredients that are readily available that all of you should be able to do. So it's been a pleasure being your chef today. And thank you, Walter Whitewater, for the great camera work so everyone could see. And we look forward to seeing you in the future for another cooking episode of native foods that are healthy, health and wellness for our seniors and all the cooks in our senior centers. So thank you to our sponsors, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you, Chef Frank and Chef Whitewater. The recipes and more may be found at the links below. We hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Thank you for joining us.